Hello, podcast world.
There you have it.
In one convenient place, all the jokes from the past year on Beers with Engineers. I hope you enjoyed it. I still think me laugh. There you have it. A brief confession to make. All the jokes from the past chatter on Beers with Engineers. I hope you enjoyed it. I still think me laugh. There was no added chatter by a narrator. A brief confession to make. I said what are we compiling you on? Really, there was jokes. A little bit better. What I meant was no added first introduction to the podcast. I hope you go check out other episodes. Conversation before and after. I hope you continue this each year, but thanks for listening. This was your first introduction to the podcast. I hope you go check out other episodes and become a regular time. First episode. This is Bert. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to hit the like button. Tell your friends. If you're like me, you like compilation episodes. Until next time, this is Bert saying goodbye. Clip. So they can stretch 5 minutes of content like a 30-minute show. No chatter here, folks. Just one joke after another. Concentrated dose of engineering humor, which is an oxymoron if I've ever heard of one. A quick plug to check out my website, dexterityeng.com, to learn about my services. When you are there, go to the podcast page and download a copy of the Beers with Engineers alt code card, tape it to your monitor, and send it to your friends. Now it is time to sit back and see whether engineers can have a sense of humor after all. Do you have an engineering joke? A favorite engineering joke? I'm going to start collecting these.
I wouldn't say I have a favorite, but I'll throw you one for your collection.
All right, very good.
How many engineers does it take to screw in a light bulb?
I think I've heard that, but I don't remember.
Just one, because we're efficient and not very funny.
Do you have an engineering-related joke for us?
Oh, geez, I almost had one canned, and now I can't remember it. The civil engineers, not known for being funny, but just because it's a rock, don't take it for granted.
All right. There you go. All right. But
you may not know schist about a stone.
I'm going to start with the engineering joke. You got a good engineering joke for us, Ralph?
I don't. I mean, I hate to say it. I'm not that funny anyways. So I don't really pay attention to jokes. So I apologize.
Just remember,
I don't have one.
Hey, Ralph, you are. To say you're not that funny, I would disagree with that.
The only joke I know, and it's not an engineering joke, is how to catch a polar bear.
How?
So you cut a hole in the ice. You put a bunch of peas around the hole. And when he comes up to take a pee, you kick him in the ice hole.
The next way we start this little shindig off is an engineering joke. Do you have an engineering joke to share with us?
Okay. A doctor, a lawyer, and an engineer are out playing golf, and they keep getting stuck behind the party in front of them, and they keep hitting up, and the party in front of them is just constantly slowing them down. They're starting to get really frustrated, and then the manager of the golf course, the guy who sends people off the tees, comes by in a golf cart and says, "Oh, I'm so sorry, but the guy in front of you, he's blind." And so the lawyer says, "Oh, man, that's terrible. Do you know what happened? I'd like to sue the guy who made him blind." And the doctor says, "Oh, I'd love to help that guy. I'll help him. I'm a surgeon. I'll help him with his eyesight." And the engineer says, "Why can't he just play at night?"
Do you know any engineering jokes that you can share with me?
Yes, I do. But it's not funny because, and I'm not good at telling jokes. I'm a good engineer. I'm not a good comedian. But I guess you're going to ask me to tell my engineering joke, aren't you?
Oh, I absolutely am. And if it doesn't work out, it's the writer's fault and not the deliverer's fault. Well,
I'm a little embarrassed because I'm not sure who the audience is. After all, we are recording this, publishing it as a podcast. But I will say, I'll tell the joke as best I can. And my disclaimer is that I'm an engineer, not a comedian. I already said that. A mathematician and an engineer and a statistician, they go on a hunting trip. And the mathematician is carrying a high-powered rifle with a scope and a tripod. It's a sniper's rifle, and they're going through the brush, and the engineer has the binoculars, and he sees an elk, and it's probably 3/4 of a mile away. but the rifle that they're using to hunt is very capable of that range. So they agree to set up the rifle on the ridge and where they have a view of this elk, and they set up the scope and take a look, and the mathematician says, I got this. Let me take the first shot since I had to carry the rifle. And everyone agrees. And so he takes out a pad and paper and he does a range finding and he calculates the triangulation and sets the rifle up and takes a shot. And the engineers look it through the binoculars and he says, oh, you hit the ground about 50 yards beyond the elk. And the engineer says, give me a try. Let me try this. And so he gets out his pad of paper and he does his calculations and sets up the shot and he pulls a trigger, and the statistician is looking through the binoculars and he says, oh, you were 50 yards too short. And the statistician says, it seems like we hit him.
Do you have a joke for us today, Mike?
I do. So, 3 engineers are riding in a car and it goes downhill and it crashes. And the mechanical engineer is, it might be the brakes. I'll get out and check. The electrical engineer is like, well, maybe it's an electrical problem or a sensor problem. I can get underneath the car and maybe give a look. And then the software engineer says, let's push it up the hill and try again.
I've heard that one, variation on that. I thought there was something, I heard there's a variation on that joke where, well, let's roll up all the windows and try again or something like that.
Yeah, something. I heard another one that was my backup was a wife asked her programming husband, would you go to the shop and pick up a loaf of bread? If they have eggs, get a dozen. And he comes back with a dozen loaves of bread and says they have eggs.
Second part of the introduction here, do you have any engineering jokes that you can share with us?
Oh, my former boss, who was an engineer, told me this joke. It goes, how can you tell an outgoing engineer? When they talk to you, they look at your feet instead of their own.
I love that one. That is possibly my favorite. That's
the only one that stuck with me.
Do you have an engineering joke to share with us, Charlie?
I had to pull up Google. I'm like, oh man,
Really?
I really gotta, I gotta think about this. I was like, oh man, what am I gonna find for a joke? But I do actually have one that I thought was pretty cute. And,
good. Lay it on me.
Engineer walks into a bar and he runs right up to the bartender. He goes, quick, give me a beer or there's gonna be trouble. And the bartender's like, oh my God, I don't want any trouble. He goes, so he brings the guy a beer and the guy drinks it down. When he's done with the beer, he looks at the bartender and goes, quick, you better get me another beer, there's gonna be trouble. And so the bartender's like, whoa, wow, okay, all right. So he gets him another beer and he gives it to him. And this goes on for another couple of beers. And the bartender's finally looking at him. He's like, hey, buddy, when are you going to pay for these beers? And the engineer looks at him and goes, okay, here comes the trouble.
Do you have a joke, engineering-related joke, that you can share with us, Dave?
So a clever one I heard recently that stuck out with me for some reason. And I'm going to admit right off the bat, it's more of a math or programming joke. And I'm sure you've probably heard it before, but there are 10 types of people in the world, those that understand binary and those that don't.
All right, so the next step of this little procedure is, do you have an engineering joke to share for us?
I do. In fact, it was funny that you said that because when I tell people my engineering jokes, it's generally not very popular. So this is very exciting for me.
All right, let's hear it. Let's hear it.
There are 3 engineers, and they're having a discussion about what kind of engineer God is, because only someone that was an engineer could have made the human body. And the first one said, God's a mechanical engineer. Like, if you look at your joints, they're really good. They're better than the best joint you can design for a robot. And then the second one says, no, God is clearly an electrical engineer. The brain is an amazing computing power, and the nerves, the way it sends information to your body, that's definitely an electrical engineer. And the third one says, no, God is a civil engineer, because only a civil engineer would put a wastewater treatment system next to a playground.
I do like one. That's a good one. That's a good one.
And because I'm a civil, I can say it.
Do you have an engineering joke you can share with us?
There's quite a few of them, and one that really kind of sticks to me. Actually, we were talking about that yesterday at the dinner table. Then we were kind of, okay, how we're going to break this. So one of the jokes that kind of came up was, what did the force say to the distance? We're having a moment, right?
We're having a moment. Nice.
So that was a pretty good laugh.
You have a little joke or some sort of engineering funny to share with the crowd?
Just the T-shirt that I'm going to buy next on Amazon, as soon as I can figure out how to work Amazon. that's a joke in itself. Is the definition of engineer is solving problems that you didn't know you had in ways that you won't understand.
That's a good one. Yep, I like that. I have a T-shirt which it was put on my Christmas or birthday list a couple years ago. It's something to the effect of, I'm an engineer. To save time, just assume I'm always right.
Yes. I tell my wife I'm right 95% of the time. She does not like
that goes over well.
It doesn't, surprisingly.
Do you have a joke you can share with us, Heidi?
Absolutely.
All right, let her rip.
Well, for people, I am German.
Sehr gut.
I'm German and Iranian, and born in the U.S., so I got all three.
All right.
But at my heart, I'll probably always be German more than anything.
Okay.
So how many German engineers does it take to switch a light bulb?
I don't know. How many?
0. It's German engineering. It was done right the first time. There's no need for switching.
You have a engineering joke for us.
There are gazillions of jokes that software engineers tell each other. But here's one. It has to do with other engineers too. So if you've heard it, if it's already been on the podcast, just stop me. But
just the engineers in the car joke?
Yeah, the 4 different the manager and the 3 engineers. Okay. All right, I won't say that one then. But it's a good one. So, all right, I'll give you a couple then. A couple short ones.
All right.
So there's it kind of goes with beers with engineers. So 99 little bugs in the code, 99 little bugs. You take one down, you patch it around, 127 little bugs in the code.
That is awesome. Next part of this program is a joke. And you have the option. You can tell an engineer joke, if you know any, or a physical therapist joke. I'm guessing you've got to know at least one.
I do know PT jokes. However, I'm ad-libbing here a little bit for you, Bert, because I decided I'm going to give you some fun little entertaining confusions that clients have over words that they get told by their doctor or their PT. So many of us have heard of people saying, oh, I have sciatic pain. Sometimes our clients think that they have psychotic pain, which is very, very different. And
little different, yep.
Somebody else, this was not my client, but the story's still great, thought they had sciatic pain. And so these things are pretty good. And then I've got 2 more for you. There is a very long word. It's one of my favorite words, spondylolisthesis, which is actually a thing that happens sometimes in people's spines. And somebody's client said they have a whatchamacallit. And that really sounds like something anybody in our family would say, Bert. So I thought that was good. And the last one I have for you is a doctor recommended their client be sedentary for a period of time. And the client heard it as be sedimentary. So there you have it.
That's one way of settling, sedimentary settling.
Yep, exactly.
We have an engineering joke to share with us.
I do. I have a software engineering joke, which
good.
I don't think needs a description afterwards, but it's okay if it does, because jokes are better when you have to explain them. So my question is, why do software engineers code in dark mode?
Code in dark mode because it
Like
hides
on
the
there.
bugs better.
Very close, because bugs are attracted to the light.
I was in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Good for
Very
me.
close.
Do you have a joke? It could be a math joke or engineering joke. Do you have either to share with us today?
Well, I do. I have a joke that involves an engineer and a mathematician that I've told for quite some time, and I find it, well, I won't preface it. I'll just let you all think what you feel.
I wonder if it's the same one that I have, but go on.
Well, this involves sheep in Ireland.
It's not the same one that I have. So
excellent then. All right. So there's a lawyer, an engineer, and a mathematician on a train heading north, just crossing over into Ireland. And the lawyer looks out the window and says, "Look, Irish sheep are black." And the physicist, I'm sorry, not the physicist, the engineer says, No, there's at least one black sheep in Ireland. And the mathematician, looking very irritated, said, "There is at least one field containing at least one sheep, of which at least one side is black."
Gotta be precise. Got to be precise. Can't see both sides.
It's always precision. Can I get a bonus joke in here? Because I just saw this one. I thought it was really funny. It's a very quick little.
Yes, because my interview I did yesterday may or may not be released before this one. He didn't have a joke, so we are due for there's a shortage of jokes
so
on the
this would
Beers
be
with
a
Engineers podcast.
So a bonus joke from the previous podcast then. So you have an engineer thinks that equations are an approximation to reality. A physicist thinks reality is an approximation to equations. And a mathematician just doesn't care.
It's all numbers or something, right? Or whatever.
It's also
as long as the numbers work. He doesn't really care. I would say the mathematician just cares about the numbers. They don't care about reality. I guess that's kind of the joke of it. So. All right, next on the agenda, do you have an engineering joke for us this morning?
Oh, I have the dorkiest one that I picked up in college. And maybe less of a statement and more of a joke, but duct tape is like the Force. It has a light side, a dark side, and it holds the universe together.
I like that. That's good. And so I bragged about you and told everybody you're a fellow, so now I've got to throw you under the bus and tell everybody that you forgot to prepare a joke. Unless you thought of a joke in the last 5 minutes.
Right. I will try my best. So let's try this.
All right, good.
A uniform being walks into a bar and the barman asks, what would you like, good sir? The beam replies, give me a moment.
Oh, boy, that... Do you have a joke to share with us?
I do. I have a metallurgical engineer joke, but it's kind of tough. Oh, hold on. I have a corrosion engineering joke. Never mind, it's too salty. Wait, since you're a mechanical engineer, Bert, I have a mechanical engineer joke. Never mind, it's too strange.
The geek levels are... they're up to 11, I think. There you have it. In one convenient place, all the jokes from the past year on Beers with Engineers. I hope you enjoyed it. They still made me laugh when I was putting this together. A brief confession to make. At the beginning, I said no chatter, and arguably there was a little chatter included. What I meant was no added chatter by a narrator in between clips. I left in the brief conversation before and after because I think it just works a little bit better. If this was your first introduction to the podcast, I hope you go check out other episodes and become a regular listener. If you are a regular listener, thanks for listening, and don't forget to hit the like button, tell your friends, all that good stuff. Until next time, this is Bert saying goodbye.
99 little bugs in the code, 99 little bugs. You take one down, you patch it around. 127 little bugs in the code.
That is awesome.